Hello, my derpy potatoes. It's Erenaroonie here, and we are back with episode 4 of Erenaroonie Rambles. Wow, it's so crazy to finally be recording again. And I checked, I actually checked. The last episode of this podcast came out on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, of course, of 2019. So 2 years. we were gone for 2 years. So obviously a lot happened and we've got a lot to talk about. So we are going to be, just sort of like a casual you and me and you. I am extremely awkward right now, as you could probably tell. But you know what? We're just gonna get through this, and hopefully we'll be able to get back into the swing of things and get back into more podcast episodes and including some more guests on the future. So, without further ado, where have I freaking been? Is the question. So, what happened was after our third episode, I was working with another voice actor who was going to be a guest. And what happened was, it was so funny. So the guest that I had at the time, she had gotten sick. And then we were waiting, I think it passed like a month, 2 months passed. And then I got sick. And then it was just back and forth, back and forth. We both kept getting sick. And we both kept having scheduling errors. Because, of course, as you know, I'm a university student, and my time availability is very strict depending on my workload or what classes I have, and, of course, living with other people made it very difficult. And, of course, the voice actress also, oh my goodness, she lived in another time zone, so there was another difficulty of trying to coordinate a time between our contradicting time zones, so that just kept going on. And then at some point it was just like, you know what, we'll come back to you. It's like, okay, cool. And then life happened, and then I never got a chance to sit back down and do another episode, which was like 2 years. And I kept thinking about it too, and I'm just like, man, it's been that long since I've done another episode. Yeah. And I was thinking about it when I did my, and you could say the same thing for, what was it called? My Cards Against Humanity voice actor edition. The same sort of thing happened, but a little bit different. Now, what happened with my Cards Against Humanity thing, we had recorded episode 2. Now, what happened with episode 2, of course, the file got a bit corrupted. This was before I was, getting really, my skills honed in on Audacity and, just being able to record, beyond, myself. So, like, within, what was it? We were using Discord, to play the game with one another and communicate. And I was recording with another recording setup, and instead of recording just the audio, it was recording video and audio. Because for some reason I couldn't get the Audacity to record just the audio because it wasn't recording my audio. It was some weird technical issue I was having, and of course, at the time, my skill level was not very well, and so we used this recording setup, but I had to format it, detach the audio from the video, and of course the file was not happy about being detached from the video. So when I tried finding the time, trying to find time to edit down the audio, because of course we were having a bit of difficulty trying to record the session, but we did actually record a whole episode 2, but the whole session needed some edits, obviously, to cut down on some things. And when I tried to edit it down, when I finally found the time, I tried to edit down through Audacity, but the file kept corrupting, or it kept, just causing issues. It wasn't saving. Like, I would leave it on my desktop, or I would close it, and then I would try to find the file again, and the file would sort of disappear, or it would close on its own, and it'd say, oh, there's some issues, and so it was just proving to be a very difficult challenge. So I ended up, just like, oh, fine, we'll give this up for now. And so that's one of the biggest reasons why I was afraid to record another episode of the podcast and another episode of Cards Against Humanity until I was able to get longer recording sessions done. And of course, a few times after that, when doing longer recording sessions for voice acting, the same sort of thing had occurred. Every once in a while, my audio would corrupt on its own, and I wouldn't have a backup. So it would be very difficult to be able to be like, how am I going to record a podcast again? So it was just like a lack of motivation, a lack of time, and just a bunch of other factors. And of course, trying to coordinate with guests was very difficult. So a lot of stuff. But hey, we're back, and that's the good thing. So that's basically what happened, and now we're back here. And of course, this episode is just going to be me speaking with y'all. And the reason because of that is, obviously we've had this pandemic, and a lot of it has been spent social distancing, staying indoors, and it is heavily impacted all of us, my friends, myself, my family, people all over the world, our acquaintances, everyone. And for me personally, one of the significant impacts that this pandemic has caused was to really make it difficult to socialize again. I was lonely, yes, and I still am, but it's also proven difficult to socialize still. So I'm lonely, but I want to be alone. It's very contradictory, and it's very difficult, and it's a really strange thing to occur. Obviously, it's something that I deal with, as a person who suffers from anxiety. It's something strange, and I'm not the only one who's had this occur. I've tried, hosting calls in my Discord server. If you look, every now and then I'll post up a link to my Discord server, and I was hosting calls throughout the summer, to try to keep things going. But at some point, I was just really burned out, and of course I was really busy with online classes. And so at some point, my conversations were really just, me working on the computer and having people just be there and me just listening in, and then at some point just not being able to host calls at all. So, and of course trying to get myself to join in calls that other Discord servers that I'm in are hosting was also difficult. So it's just really impacted my socializing. And so what I'm hoping to do is to sort of do a few episodes, solo, and then gradually work my way being comfortable behind the mic once again. I've still been doing voice acting, that's the thing. I've still been doing voice work, and I've still been making projects, as you guys have seen throughout the past year on the YouTube channel. But still doing voice work. But as for socializing, still it's become a lot more introverted. So I'm hoping that with bringing back the podcast, that sort of re-break my shell and get back to how I used to be. Because honestly, just being able to just joining say Twitter and meeting so many wonderful VAs and artists and creators who are on Twitter, and joining them on Discord and all these sorts of things, it's been a wonderful experience, and just it's so incredible to be able to meet all these wonderful people, so many that I now call my friends, and it's a wonderful thing. And I don't want to lose that. I want to continue to, continue to help build this community, be a member of this community, and, do what I can, support one another, and continue to make friends. Of course, still, doing my own thing, because I still like to do my own thing and just I don't really know. It's just, I love to still be in my own personal space. Like, like a little bubble sort of thing, but still interact with others when, I'm feeling ready for it. So I'm working my way towards that. And I hope others are too, because I know a lot of my friends have had the same issues that I am right now. A lot of them aren't, hosting calls anymore on Discord, and it's just been something difficult. So I'm hoping that with bringing back the podcast, we're able to reignite those communications that we had like we did before. So, with that said, that's where I've been with the podcast and all these other things. I might as well go over some other things that have been going on in my personal life. So, obviously, I'm in university, and I am a senior. That is crazy. I cannot believe that I am going to be graduating. It feels really surreal. Like, it felt really, when I was graduating high school, I remember feeling very confident when I walked into my classes in high school. Just like, freshman year, I was really bad anxiety, just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. But when it came to my senior year of high school, I remember just feeling ready, like, I got this. I wasn't afraid of being picked on or bullies or any of that. I was kind of actually, I would laugh at some of the newer, like, freshmen who be like, oh, this, that, like, oh, I'm all tough, and I'm just like, heh, good luck. But, like, I just had this newfound confidence and calm, like, I knew what I was doing, and I sort of regained that same sort of feeling again, being a senior and now graduating university. But it has proven very difficult. Obviously, the setback that I was not expecting being the switch to online classes. And it happened so quickly. Like, let me explain to y'all what happened. Because obviously a lot of stuff happened last year. I'd mention it here and there on my social media, mostly on my Twitter, because, hey, follow my Twitter. You'll hear more updates from me on there. But the thing that really happened was, it was in March. A lot of people say that it happened around March, and I have to agree, because that's when it happened. Literally after we celebrated my birthday. It was literally the week after we celebrated my birthday. So it was the Sunday was my birthday last year. And then Monday through Friday, it was that whole week, and I remember everything going on. So, like, there were cases of occurring in certain schools around us in my area, and our university was keeping tabs, and it was very chaotic because the emails were just all over the place. And it was like, even then, I'm a communication major, and even then, our professors were talking about it, like, there was not a set preparation for crisis communication, public relations sort of thing. The people were not prepared. People did not have a plan, and I remember my professor just really speaking on that, like, they've had trainings, like, in the past for, like, fire drills and stuff. Like, in high school, we had those little practices and lockdown practices, but in university, it's not the same sort of practices that we would have. So it's really just, like, I don't remember, I think it was something to the lines of chickens with their heads cut off sort of thing. It's just like a frantic sort of thing, like, what do we do? We're not prepared for this scenario. So of course, even though there have been pandemics in the past, there was not a sort of plan in the case of this pandemic occurring, which of course showed very relevant to when last year occurred in March. We were getting emails that were becoming very incoherent, which just made students and professors and doctors, everyone involved was confused. Like, I remember it was during class that we were trying to decipher what the heck our president of our university was trying to say in the email. It had been such a rambling and so incoherent. And so that sort of thing just continued on throughout the week. And then eventually just said, you know what, we're just going to cancel. And I remember it just feeling, I remember that day where my roommates woke me up and they're all like, hey, you got your wish, we're going to move online. Because at the time I remember not feeling safe. Like, the professors are stressed out, everyone's stressed out, we don't have a plan. It's just like, I remember back then being like, give them some time, we need to cancel classes and give them some time to create a plan because we have no plan. And so that day, I remember them saying, you know, hey, you got your wish, classes are going to be canceled, this is the last day for in class. And I was just like, wow, they did it. And so for 2 weeks, we were no classes while the professors were struggling to quickly maneuver their courses from in person to being completely online. They had the choice of being synchronous or asynchronous, meaning, so like, we would be on Zoom and we would be joining during our time that we would have met in person, we would be joining on the computer, FaceTime giant class thing, you know, the drill sort of thing. And asynchronous, which meant like we were doing our own work, we had the assignments listed there, deadlines given, you know, that sort of thing. And so we wouldn't actually have to like attend any class at a certain time. It's just turn in your assignments at the given deadlines. And we've been like that since. And here we are, we've already passed the March. I remember when we were in March of 2021, like, I remember like this is the week that it all happened. And I remember seeing the Facebook memories popping up, and I'm just like, wow, this is what I said back then. I could not have guessed, because I was looking through it and I remember seeing it, and I'm just like, I don't remember exactly what I said after that. I just remember saying like, this will be my last day in a classroom until August. And it's like, how, there is no way I could have possibly imagined that it's the next year past March and I'm still not in a physical classroom. I'm still online, asynchronous and synchronous, and I'm graduating. So it's been surreal, the senior year. But hey, we're here. I'll be graduating sometime late May and then go on from there. And of course, I made the announcement on my Twitter. I was I was very fortunate to be accepted into the graduate program. So starting fall, I will be going for my master's. And it's just, I'm very hopeful. I'm grateful for what communications has done for me, because it's something, I swear, like, if I could make any sort of class a prerequisite, or at least any sort of high school, any sort of university, college level course into a junior high school class, it would have to be interpersonal communications, and I'll explain why. One of the main things about interpersonal communications is basically interactions between you and another person, discussing how certain messages are conveyed. So like text messages, how you talk to someone, you know, your physical interpretations, like facial proximity, like how close you are to someone, you know, just all these sort of different factors that go into how you are interacting with someone. And, you know, just, I wish I had that sort of thing in high school. And because there's a lot of miscommunication that could have been easily avoided had we learned about this sort of thing back then. And I think it is definitely something that we should be showing more people. So when people say, you know, communications, oh, that's an easy course, that's an easy major, whatever, is not important. There's so many facets to communications. I mean, there's media communications, where it shows you about how communication has evolved from books and writings word of mouth to radio and music and television, and who knows what'll happen after that. And that's just one of the facets of communications. But one of the main things, if I was to share anything from my major, it would have to be interpersonal communications. So I'm definitely excited to, further my education on communications and, go further with what I learn. One of the other things that has been really cool about communications is that I've been able to, well, school in general, is that I was able to make videos for my classes, and I was able to upload them to the YouTube channel. Obviously, An Astronomical Conspiracy, I did for my, what was it? It was philosophy course. I did the Accidents Happen for my conflict communication course. The La Llorona video for a research project that I did for my rhetoric comms. And there's just, I'm hoping to continue doing that. And I have another one on the way for my health communication. So keep an eye out for that one. And speaking of projects, oh man, there's just so many more that I have on the way. Like, I was going through, okay, let me explain. I used to write, well, I still do. I write my notes, my stories in my notes, and I have all these old papers that I've written, all these old drawings on my, I used to doodle in class, don't judge, but I would doodle and sketch and do all these things all over my papers, my homework assignments, my tests. But I have all these stories and artwork and all these little things from over the years since high school to now, as well as these stories that I've written down in my notes. And so a lot of them I'm looking back up. And what I'm hoping to do, what I'm aiming to do, is to turn some of them into audio dramas, web comics, and some of them into books as well. When it comes to the books, I'm hoping to actually publish rather than to post them onto my channel. So I am actually, like, there's a few. I was looking through them, and it looks, I may start out first with a children's book, and then from there I will continue on with working on some of my larger books, like some of the novels that I've already started on. I started on quite a few back in high school, but at some point I stopped, mostly because I was at the level I was at, I wasn't able to really be as descriptive and eloquent as I am now. And I feel a lot more confident in my skills. And so what I'm aiming to do is to go back to those pieces that I wrote back in high school, revise them, obviously, and then continue working on them from there until they're, ready to be edited and published. And we'll see what happens from there. If not, we've always got the YouTube channel. But that's my goal. But obviously I have a casting call right now. Well, depending on when this episode comes out. But the casting call will end on the 28th, and it'll be the first audio drama to come out since I can't remember what my last audio drama was. I've been doing a bunch of webcomics and animatics. But I can't remember what my last audio drama was. I think it was the what was it called? The Daddy's Kisses audio drama. I've done, I believe, 2 audio dramas on the channel. One of them was a parody for Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer, and the other one was an original audio drama that I wrote called Daddy's Kisses that I did in one go. And since then, I've been mostly doing webcomics and the animatics. So but of course I got held back with a bunch of them. So the main one, obviously, as you can tell that I'm having trouble with, is the Erenaroonie 6 Nights of Scares, the Shriekle. I'm currently needing to edit episode 5. Episode 6 has not even been drawn yet. That's how behind I am. And it's not that I have not been working on it. I've been working on it since, I believe it was the summer of 2020. So last year, I've been working on it since last year, the summer of last year. But the reason why this one is taking so much longer is because of the needing to cast. It's a bigger cast than the first series, and I definitely went a little overboard with how many frames I did for some of the animatics and just drawing in general. And of course, needing to draw a bunch of new characters from scratch. As you can probably tell, there's a bunch of new characters that I drew, and this time I tried to um, do a lot more backgrounds than I did in the first one. I remember basically aiming for just like a plain blue background of the night sky, but in this one I was trying to do a lot more settings and backgrounds. So a lot of the time was given to designing and creating these new characters. Again, this is all just me. There are a few characters that have been drawn by other artists, which you can tell because of them being listed in the credits. You'll see there's a few, like, 2, 3 characters drawn by another artist, and one of the settings, the witch's house, which is the candy house, was drawn by another artist, and they're all listed in the credits of their respective videos, which you can check them out inside the video description. I will link them below so you can start with episode 1 and go on from there. But it's all being drawn by me. So literally everything that you've seen is all me. I wrote the script, I did the casting process, I did a lot of the voices for, well, obviously it's me as Arena and Erenaroonie and a bunch of other stuff. But a lot of, and the editing, the audio editing is me. The finding the sound effects, the music, that's all me. Editing the video, that's all me. So a lot. That's why it's taking a lot longer than last year. It's just because it's much bigger than it was from last year's project. So I didn't want to rush it. I definitely didn't want to be. I was wanting to do what I did in 2019, which is, what was it? Yeah, it was 2019 when the first Six Nights of Scares was released, and I was aiming for releasing one episode each night like I did then, but of course things happen. And so it's just been a matter of, I don't want to rush it. I don't want it to, like, come off as a bad final product. So and of course, school. I did not anticipate the online classes to really stir me up, because I'm a lot more comfortable learning in person. So the switch to online classes has also been difficult, and just overall not feeling good. Not from COVID, but I mean just not feeling good physically, mentally. It's definitely taken a toll. So it's still a process of working on the project. It will be completed. It's just taking it slow, not really rushing it. It'll come out when it comes out. And I'm grateful for everyone's patience. Everyone has been so very kind about it, and very appreciative of the final products of each episode. I mean, I love reading your guys' comments, and I love seeing people's reactions and the actors' reactions. Oh, it makes me so happy to finally be able to share those types of things. And, it helps my skill develop a lot more. And it makes me really excited to, continue on creating and continue collaborating with other people. I mean, this one is a big difference, and not only because it's a bigger cast, but also because this is the first time that I'm working with other artists. In the first one, it was all me drawing, but in this one, to actually have other artists offer up to be able to contribute and collaborate into the project, it was wonderful, and I'm thoroughly grateful to be able to have that opportunity. And I hope to be able to, have that happen again and for future projects and for bigger projects, So it's definitely a stepping stone. The first one was definitely a big stepping stone to show what we could do. I mean, we made a whole series on the first one. And then the second one definitely has a lot of changes and shows a lot of differences that can be very big comparison to the first one. And so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, because I know it is gonna be difficult. I'm hoping to be able to make a third one, but definitely not this year. We're getting that straight right now. We're trying to finish this one this year because we're still not finished with the second one. So I'm hoping maybe in 2022, maybe 2023, we'll see, fingers crossed, that we can do a third Erenaroonie 6 Nights of Scares. I'm thinking about the title too. I've already gotten a few ideas in mind for it, for the title. I was thinking like the Terrifying Trilogy or something like that, to sort of a throwback to the trilogy of terror movie sort of thing. I haven't seen the movie, I just know about the Zuni doll with Karen Black. But just still making references and cameos to all these movies that, and games and shows that I adore, and being able to continue to share my love for these things and to, bring people together and just enjoy these things together. And of course to make way for future original projects, like more audio dramas, more webcomics, all that stuff. So, of course, we've got the first audio drama on the way, and I have a few others in mind. One thing that I do want to do, and I don't know if I can be able to do it, is one of them I was planning for a webcomic as a sort of choose-your-own-adventure webcomic. This won't be something this year. This would have to wait until in the future when I can collaborate with others to make this possible. But this specific project in mind was something to do with a choose-your-own-adventure sort of thing. So, like, you have certain paths that you can go. Two of them are wrong, one of them are right. Two of them will lead to a certain fate. One of them will help you to go to the next section of the story. And I was hoping to do it like one of those things where, like, choose the right, choose the left, video, link, and then you can choose from there, choose again, that sort of thing. I was hoping to aim for that. And of course in the webcomic format, because this would rely on visuals alongside the audio vocal performances. But one of the things that I was hoping for was to see if it would be possible to actually to turn this into a sort of RPG horror game. A small one, of course, but I've seen some in the past that have. Well, I've seen a few in the past, and I've played one of them, called Ebe. If you guys have ever seen that, I know this, I know it's such a dork, but I know this because of Markiplier. I love watching his playthrough of it. But RPG horror games, I've seen a bunch of them, like Aooni, Witch's House. I was just rewatching another one. I was watching Corpse Party. What was another one I was watching? I was trying to remember. Obviously Skinwalker that he played, of course Markiplier I'm talking about. I watched a bunch of these with Markiplier. It's so funny. Mad Father was another one. I just watched it last week. What was it called? It starts with an M. I know this. This is gonna bother me until I remember. It starts with an M. Just gonna put in the Jeopardy music. Misao. Took me forever to remember that. But yeah. So I was inspired by a bunch of RPG horror games for this specific one. And I would think it would work better than a webcomic because it would be easier to do the whole choose the wrong path, it would result in a death, and then you could try again on your save spot. Better than having to click through in the different videos. But then, of course, I would need to collaborate with people. So, because I've tried in the past trying to figure out how to work with RPG makers, but I can never really understand how it works. So, unless I can figure it out myself, it would have to be a collaboration with other creators. So, in the meantime, we're going to stick with the audio dramas and webcomics that I have in mind, and I'm going to put that specific one on hold just in case we are actually able to make that a reality. So, if anyone has any people to recommend, you know where to find me. But yeah, speaking of stuff that I've been watching, I rewatched a bunch of the RPG horror games that Markiplier was playing, but I've been watching a bunch of Jacksepticeye. But a lot of things that I've been watching recently, as y'all know, I really love my 80s horror movies. But a lot of the stuff that I've been watching recently, well, not recently, but like on my breaks, a lot of them have actually been sci-fi horror movies. And by that, I mean the old black and white sci-fi horror movies with the alien invaders and stuff like that. I just really like those for some reason. I don't know what it is that really draws me to them. I know they're very corny, some of them. If you've seen Teenagers from Outer Space, I watched that one in high school, and I love it. It is perfection. But wait, okay, you guys probably need to understand the context of that one. So, Teenagers from Outer Space, gold movie. I used to save trailers for movies back in like junior high, early high school on my YouTube playlist to watch for later. And I saved the trailer for Teenagers from Outer Space alongside the sequel to Creature from the Black Lagoon and The Creature Walks Among Us. Because I didn't even know Creature from the Black Lagoon had a sequel. And I'm like, whoa, there's a second one, there's a third one. And then I'm seeing all these other ones, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, look at all these movies. And of course, the movie that I found was Teenagers from Outer Space. And the trailer looked actually good. Like, what happened was, like, the spaceship comes down, and it was an interesting thing, obviously a work of its time, but what they did was the alien invaders, who are obviously humans, they look like humans but are in like space outfits. They shoot like a ray gun thing, but it turns people into skeletons. So like they'll have the person in one position, they'll cut to the person shooting them with the ray gun, and then they'll cut back, but instead of the person being right there, they'll replace them with a skeleton. And I remember thinking, oh man, that's a really cool effect. Because, like, they did that with, like, people in certain positions and the skeleton just falling or stuff like that. And I thought, oh man, this looks like a cool movie. This will be rad. And, of course, when I finally found it, I finally found the movie. It was amazing. Specifically the ending. And I remember telling my film club about this movie, specifically because of the movie's monster, the big monster that they kept talking about throughout the movie. This is pure gold. So they reference this monster throughout the entirety of the movie. And then you finally get to see this monster that everyone is fearful of. The aliens are trying to produce on Earth. And it is just a freaking lobster. Not a man in a lobster suit. Not any sort of, mutated lobster thing. It is just a lobster that they made look large, and the sound the sound that the lobster made, it was like that was the monster that they were taught, that they were building up to the whole movie. And it looks like a person flailing a lobster on the screen while it's like and I can't tell for the life of me if it's just a product of its time or if it was just a gigantic fail. Like, I want to know if anyone, when that movie was released, if anyone was afraid of that, genuinely. Because, oh my god. I mean, oh my god, it needs to be seen to comprehend how incredible this movie was. And especially that epic fight against the monster. So if you ever find it, Teenagers from Outer Space, 10 out of 10 would recommend. But anyways, so finding sci-fi horror, quote unquote horror, not all of them are scary, but a good portion of them are. A lot of them that I found, some of them were cheesy, some of them, well, of course cheesy, but some of them I really freaking liked. One of them that I watched, which was a classic, I know, is the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I've never seen it before, and I hope to find the 70s version with Donald Sutherland. Or was it? Yeah, Donald Sutherland. I was about to say Donald Pleasance. That's Halloween. But Donald Sutherland in the 70s version. I've never seen that one either, but I've seen little clips here and there. But I've never seen the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And I'm just like, this movie was intense. It was really well done. But it left me with some questions too, and I'm just like, wow. And I tried to, and it's hard when it's the old movies. I know it's the downfall of liking the old black and white sci-fi movies, because it's hard to find the demographics of people who've seen them, who are still, you know, aware of them, who still talk about them, who still like them, that sort of thing. It's hard to find others who you know, really know about the lore, or who know more information, or like behind the scenes stuff, because I like that stuff. Every time I find stuff like, say, of course I mentioned Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Creature from the Black Lagoon, I love that movie so freaking much, so much. The music, the sound that the creature makes, chilling. And the Gillman suit itself, the way the gills move and all that, incredible. And the underwater scenes, everything about it is just amazing. And so when I'm able to actually find behind the scenes photographs, because that's usually the only thing I find are photographs of some of these movies, and it's very rare to find them. But I found a few of them with The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and it's always just like, wow, this is amazing, this is incredible. But of course, with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know, it was absolutely amazing. It was so thrilling, and I was engaged. It was just like, and the ending was just like, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen next? It left you at a cliffhanger sort of thing. You were left with so many assumptions. But also there's a confusing aspect to the movie that left me a bit confused with the pods. Well, of course, it's confusing to describe, because again, like, it's the thing that I'm having trouble understanding. So, like, they put these pods, and what happens is people come out of the pods, and they look like you, but the thing is, you need to fall asleep, and then they take over, and then all of a sudden, they're possessing the person, and the person is gone, and it's the alien inside the person's body. But the thing that makes it weird is that, so what's the purpose of the other body that's inside the pod? Because it looks identical to you. It's not like a doppelganger that attacks the original and takes over their personality, like in those typical sort of movies where they do the same sort of thing, you know, like something's off and then all of a sudden the alien comes over and takes over. It's strange because this one, it's not that they are it's not that they uh, destroy they kill the original and then take over. It's like the body that comes out of the cocoon, even though it looks like the person, as soon as the person falls asleep, that body disappears and then the person wakes up and all of a sudden they're the alien. And it's weird because, like, originally I thought that it was, of course, like that theme of the alien taking over and destroying the original, but then what's the purpose of having the full body come out of the cocoon and all that? So that kind of threw me off because it shows like a full body there, like what happens to the body. Um, in one of the scenes, like they show the one of the guys' clone is forming right there, and it looks just like him, and he's right there, and then later it disappears. It's like, where'd it go? Because he wasn't asleep or something, and it was like it's a little bit of a confusing plot point, but I tried searching it up and I couldn't find anything on it. So that was the only thing that I had trouble understanding. But like other than that, it was just like, oh my gosh, it was just so good. Like I felt as helpless as the characters, and I'm just like, I want them to make it, and I'm just like, what's gonna happen next? How are they gonna reverse this? You know, like it was intense. And I really liked it. So Invasion of the Body Snatchers was another one that I highly recommend. And I'm going to be searching for the 1970s version. If anyone knows where to find it, let me know. What was another one I really liked? The other one that I really liked was the Attack of the Puppet People. Now, this one I really freaking liked. Now, this one had basically something interesting that I noticed was the effects of its time. They looked really freaking good. Like even up to now, they looked a lot more realistic than the CGI that we use now. And of course they had less effects budget, sort of techniques, skill, stuff like that we have now, and yet they made it look so real, and it was amazing. Like for example, the people inside inside. If you watch the movie, you'll see. But what happens is, like, the guy says it's dolls that are miniatures that look like the people they're based on, but of course, it's the actual people that he shrunk and put them in those little things, and he's made little copies of them, and stuff like that. But he keeps them in these little containers and has them go on like a cryogenic sleep and then wakes them up whenever he wants to. And he has these little people hanging around him. And one of the things that I really noticed was like the optical illusion of making him appear larger and the people smaller, the props that they used, the large props, like they used like a telephone, and it looked like really it looked real. And the other thing was the containers that had the people in them. You could tell that after it took me a while to kind of figure out how they did it, but what it did was it looks like the actual person is inside the little container. And I'm like, how are they doing that? And they keep it face forward, and then it took me a while to actually process and figure out, oh, okay, so it's a picture of the actor in a certain position that they're facing forward inside the container. But they positioned it so well in the container that it looks like it's an actual doll inside the container, not a picture. And I thought that was another really good one. So it's just like the effects were amazing. I love the acting in it. And it was just, oh man, I was just awestruck with this movie. I wanted to rewatch it, actually. I wanted to rewatch it right afterwards, but of course I try to limit myself from rewatching movies after I just watch them, so that way, I can continue to enjoy them. I only do that every once in a while, but this one I was able to taper off. But the Attack of the Puppet People, I gotta find that one for my collection, because That one was amazing. I really enjoyed that one a lot. So I just a lot of sci-fi horror films, and of course 80s horror films that I watched as well, and modern horror films too. Of course, I watched The Lighthouse with William Dafoe and Robert Patterson, and oh boy, that was a weird one. uh, I'm not even gonna attempt to explain it because what the heck happened in that movie? If you are old enough to watch it, you can be my guest and watch it and try to explain it to me. The ending. It is a weird one. I am not going to lie. I know it's one of those artistic sort of films. They did it in a certain way. It's all in black and white. And I can't remember they did a certain cropping of the screen, so it's not widescreen, but it has it's smaller, so it's box shaped, and they had different. The actors spoke in a certain way, like it was a hard dialect, like the actually had to put on subtitles because it was hard to understand what the actors were saying, because like it was just a strange, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it was very artistic. There were some hidden messages in there. Some of them, well, I can't say that I understood it because how can you say you understood these things that occurred in there? But basically, it's something that it's definitely not for everyone. If you're not into the whole subversive takes on films that are really just that have very artistic aspects to them, that are hidden meanings or just have very strange aspects to them, I wouldn't really just go for it. If anything, if you're curious about it, like, I would say watch one of the reviews on it, like Foundflix. I've been watching a bunch of Foundflix, which is a YouTuber. Heyo, another YouTuber that I've been watching, but he does an in-depth dive on it, and it's just like, if you're interested in checking out to see what I'm talking about, definitely check his video out, or somebody else if you're more comfortable with another specific movie reviewer. But if you are game to watch it, it is an experience. That's all I'm gonna say. It is an experience. My cat, she shakes. Oh my goodness. If you guys have noticed, I've been doing a lot of, I've cleared some of the, what is it? Just real quick before I continue on, I've cleared a bunch of my, I took off my Tumblr and my DeviantArt, mostly because I don't really post on them. I took off my Snapchat as well. So, my main social media that I post up are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, of course, Twitter, the main one, if you want to see anything, and TikTok. I have added TikTok. But TikTok is a little bit different. Of course, because you can't really post pictures on there, it's just videos. So, what I've been doing on my TikTok, because she's right here, I'm just gonna, and she just interrupted me by shaking the bed. What I do on my TikTok, other than posting my animatics or some of the videos that I post on YouTube, is I also post videos of my cat Cammy. So if you want to see some of her silly things that she does with me, or on her own, or just being the quirky little kitty she is, definitely check out my TikTok. Alright, back to it. So I've been watching some modern movies like what was it called again? I just forgot what it was called. The Lighthouse was another weird one that I watched, and of course a bunch of 80s movies. There's a bunch more I can ramble on for hours, but of course this is Erenaroonie Rambles, so I will move on from there. Maybe we'll save some more movies for another day to talk about. Another thing that I've been doing throughout this year has been making cosplays. Of course, I very much miss Comic-Cons. And it's very ironic because I got stuff for my birthday so I could actually finish my birthday last year, excuse me. My 2020, I was getting ready for my Harley Quinn cosplay. I've worn it before, but it was not the full on cosplay. It was not complete. So, by complete, I mean like there's more I wanted to add onto it, like white makeup and to do certain pants with it and get a hammer and all that. Um, I was given a bat, so I used the bat from the. But it's different because I have the black and red Harley Quinn outfit is the one that I have. So the bat I was given is obviously the bat that the Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad carries. So it kind of clashed a little bit, but it still worked out for the cosplay I was wearing. But of course, I wanted to change up the costume a little bit more. But anyways, I was working on the cosplay, and I just got it all ready to go when COVID hit, and of course, all the Comic Cons were being postponed. And so, in the meantime, this past year, I have been preparing my costumes. I got a hammer from Spirit while it was still open during Halloween, and I've got a few other cosplays in the works. Of course, my Harley Quinn cosplay is complete and ready to go. I also have my Pennywise cosplay just finished. The one thing I don't have though is the contacts, and the reason why is because I wear glasses. I was going to get colored contacts, but they recommend not to do colored contacts because it could mess with your eyes unless they're specifically your prescription. And of course, since I already just did my redid my glasses, so I wasn't planning on getting colored contacts specifically for cosplay, or excuse me, I wasn't going to go for colored prescription contacts solely for cosplay because I wouldn't know when the next cosplay Comic-Con would be that I'd be able to go to. They're far and few between for me in my area, and of course restrictions right now because of COVID. So it would kind of be pointless to get blue prescription eye contacts and be walking around like, hey, I have blue eyes. So just sticking with glasses. I plan to just, do the cheat by doing the video filter, photo filter, and doing blue eye contacts like that, or yellow eye contacts, blue eye contacts, whatever for the character. So, but I do have the Harley Quinn cosplay ready, and I have the female Pennywise cosplay ready. Two new cosplays that I've been working on, however, are ones that I have seen in the past. Well, one of them I've seen in the past. The other one I'll explain. But one of them I've seen in the past, and it was this Shy Guy, but it was a gender bend Shy Guy. So Shy Guy from the Mario Brothers. And I really like the character a lot. I love playing him and the Mario parties. They're a lot of fun. Like the Yoshis, you can choose your favorite color, Shy Guy, that sort of thing. But one of the things that I wanted to go for was I saw this, what is it called? It is it's like a hoodie dress. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a hoodie dress. So it's a hoodie, and it's long sleeve, big hoodie, and it is, instead of just like a normal like sweatshirt, it stretches downward so it's a dress. And it has the pockets and everything. And when I saw this specific one, I was just like, oh my goodness, this would be perfect for a Shy Guy cosplay. And then I saw another one. I'm just like, oh, this would also be good. So I ended up getting two of them. One of them in red, like the traditional Shy Guy that you typically see, and purple because I love purple. Purple's my favorite color. And I ended up just getting the wig, which is like a little light blue wig. I think it's like, if I remember correctly, the wig has an ombre effect to it, and it's got curls and everything. So what I was planning to do, and I just got the belt for it too. So what I was hoping to do is to wear this one specifically for Comic-Con, and to be able to see if I can. We're looking to see about the mask though. I have a few ideas for doing the mask. Of course, there are ways you can do it with making the Shy Guy mask with clay. You can do a 3D printer commission sort of thing. I was also looking, you can also do it with the foam, like the paper foam, and cut holes and do all that stuff. So I have a few options for making the mask. I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I'm not going to a Comic-Con just yet. So I'm holding off on the mask for now, but I am just about there for the female Shy Guy cosplay. When I have that ready to go, I'll probably share it because my face will be covered. But I'll be doing a female Shy Guy alongside my Harley Quinn and my Pennywise. And the other cosplay that I have is one that I was looking for the longest time. And let me explain. So obviously, I do not have the technique to be able to really make my own cosplays from scratch. I purchase different pieces together and I put it together. And so I was looking at some of the things on Pinterest, and I see that there are people who actually offer to make cosplays for you, but for commission. And I'm just like, oh, that's really cool. And I had a specific cosplay in mind. I'm just like, not just yet. No, not just yet. And so I was looking through. I will look through every once in a while, and I bought 2 dresses that I was looking through. And piece by piece, very slowly, just every once in a while, pick up little pieces here and there. I bought the brown wig. I got the white headband. Probably tell where I'm going with this. I got the little white cape. And now I'm working on an Erenaroonie cosplay. Yeah. So I'm working on making this cosplay from scratch rather than, commissioning someone to make it. I was originally going to, but, for now, I was happy with just doing my little put together of, a cosplay of Arena. Not me, but the character. I should probably clarify that. I was originally trying to see if I could do the hoodie fall costume. Now, the reason I was looking at this one was because I thought it would be easier to be able to cut the shoulders off, or to get 2 different hoodies, one light purple, one dark purple, and cut the sleeves off and then sew the light purple on, and then boom, you've got the Erenaroonie sweater. But unfortunately, I could not find the colors I was looking for. Not just a normal style sort of thing, so the hoodie flew out the door. And then of course after that I was looking like, why don't I just do the dress? And then I was looking about doing a commission. I'm just like, I'm not going to a Comic-Con anytime soon, it would be kind of pointless. And then eventually as time passed, and then I'm just like, what, this would actually look kind of like her outfit. And so just piecing it together and be like, hey, it's kind of like a little homemade Erenaroonie dress. So that's my 4th cosplay. And so that's another thing that I've been doing alongside watching movies, school, doing stuff. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way, I might as well start heading towards the Q&A that I host. Now, I posted up a Q&A thing on Twitter and on Instagram asking people to go ahead and ask me some questions that y'all would like me to answer for this episode of the podcast. And if I don't get to your question, I may answer it in the future. So, let's go ahead and begin, shall we? The first question comes from Hero Noodle. The question is, are there any things you wish were more known / accepted amongst voice actors or content creators in general, whether it be practices, mindsets, or anything else? This is a really good question. I'm glad you asked this. When it comes to, something that I wish was a lot more known, I think something that a lot of people tend to forget is to be courteous to one another. Whether you're friends, whether you're working with one another, whether you're just acquaintances, or whether you're just sending in an audition. I think a lot of people that's why I recommend the interpersonal communication class. I think if more people had taken these sort of things and learned the sort of things from stuff like interpersonal communication, I think it would go a long way. And so, for creators, voice actors in general, one of the things that I wish more people would work on is being courteous, respecting people's boundaries. A lot of time, boundaries are being broken when people have set certain things up. Like, I myself, I say that if I'm not, if I'm not cool, well, if I'm not like comfortable with, having conversations and stuff like that, I typically say, my DMs are for business/voice work. And of course, majority of the time it is. Like, unless you're my friend, sort of thing, if I already talk with you on that level, then, like, I'm okay with DMs with you. But if you're not on that level with me, like, I have that boundary up for a reason, saying, hey, my DMs are for business/voice work, or hey, I'm just not up for conversation right now, or one of the big things I've noticed recently is just like people just not respecting boundaries, and I think that's one of the things that people really need to work on, is being courteous to and respectful of others and their boundaries. If someone says, hey, my mental health is not well, I can't do this right now, hey, I don't like that you're making this sort of sexual joke towards me, or like, even for not safe for work, especially for not safe for work voice actors. Let me explain. I'm not a not safe for work. I'm not a not safe for work voice actress. I don't do not safe for voice work. It's just not my thing. I prefer safe for work because I'm more comfortable with it. But of course, I do have fellow VAs who are not safe for work voice actresses and voice actors, and it's just like, cool, go ahead, go for it, do your thing. And one of the things that I noticed that they go through, and it is so wrong that they go through this, by the way, is that even though that they provide this entertainment for people, people have the nerve to go into DMs and like to go into their DMs and expect explicit content from them, explicit DMs, go past their comfort zones, that sort of thing, mock them, be cruel to them. Even those that are consuming, and it's very freaking sad, it's some people who are consuming their content, and they are aggressive or nasty and don't understand consent, that the VA is not consenting to their advances in their DMs. It's like, I'm not here to be your sex toy 24/7, no. So it's like, people do not respect boundaries, and it's wrong. So it's like, and it is not something, it's something that we as a community can do better. People, as voice actors, as creators, that sort of thing. Uh, just boundaries need to be respected. People need to be respected. Courtesy needs to be had. Don't go insulting people because you weren't cast. Don't go insulting people because of their voice work, because you didn't like the audition they sent. There are people who give feedback, quote unquote feedback, and completely destroy a VA by saying such cruel things that are unwarranted, not needed. And it's just like, where do you get off? So I think if there's anything that I wish people, all of us, could do better is to be kinder, to be more considerate, and to just, be more respectful. So, thank you so much for that question, Hero Noodle. And let's go ahead and go for the next one. Okay, this one's a little bit more lighthearted. Best Disney Princess, go. And this one comes from CJ. CJ's Gaming Music. CJ Cowart. Hey, yo, my dude. Thank you for this question. Now, I like a bunch of the Disney princesses, but of course, I gotta go with my favorite from when I was a kid. Now, I'm not as into Disney as I used to be, but of course, this one in particular was my favorite Disney princess, and I'll explain why. I like this princess a lot because she kind of reminded me of me. She was strong. She was the first princess to wear, like, a purple outfit. Other than Muriel. Oh my god, I'm thinking of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Other than Ariel, she's the only other one that wore purple before Tangled and all that. I loved her voice. I love her personality, her strength, her determination. She wanted to go for her own thing. And so my favorite personal Disney princess since a child was Princess Jasmine from Aladdin. Always loved Princess Jasmine. My favorite princess. I always thought of myself as, if I were to be one of the princesses, it would be Princess Jasmine. I just, she was she was the first, dark-haired was it before Beauty and the Beast? I think so. If not, I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't know. It was just something about Jasmine as a kid that I always loved Jasmine as a kid. And this was before I never even gave Beauty and the Beast a chance. So this was before I fell in love with Belle and all that. But Jasmine was just my favorite princess as a kid. I loved her singing. I loved how, just passionate about what she wanted to do. She was very determined. And, that was something that I always really enjoyed. So, favorite princess, Jasmine. Thanks so much, CJ. Alright, and we will do one more question from Instagram, which was, of course, the other place that I posted. But again, if you want to hear more from me, more of my inside thoughts, more of my quirky dorp. Oh my goodness. More of my derpy, dorky self, definitely check me out on Twitter. Interact with me on Twitter. That is the best place to chat with me. So the final question of the night is from official Lloyd's X _78. Lloyd's asks, will there be more cameo characters in the series? And by the series, I'm assuming you're either asking for the upcoming Luma, the Librarian series, or you're asking about the Erenaroonie 6 Nights of Scares, the Shriekwell. So thank you so much for that question, Lloyds. I will be having more in both. You see, as you can probably already tell, I really love Easter eggs, cameos, references to stuff that I love that people will get the reference to or don't get the reference to. I sort of do them for me, sort of. So, yes, there will definitely be more cameos and references that I can do. Obviously, there'll be a few more references because we're coming to a close in the 6 Nights of Scares. One big thing, though, and I'm gonna say it here, so if you're listening to this podcast, you're gonna hear it first. Make sure, if you want the biggest cameo on the channel, watch episode 5. That's all I'm gonna say. You have to watch it if you want to know what this cameo is. You'll be seeing someone that you never thought you'd ever see. And that's all I'm gonna say. That comes from the Erenaroonie 6 Nights of Scared Shriekwell. As for Luma the Librarian, of course, I do have a few cameos in mind. One of the ones that I had already talked to him about, if you remember my friend, the guest for episode 2, Axel DK64, will be a cameo guest in Luma the Librarian series. I haven't thought out fully how many episodes or what he'll be in just yet, because we haven't gotten to the script writing segment of the series just yet, because we're still in the drafting section of the character designs. But Axel will definitely be making a cameo. My dad will be making a cameo. More on that later. I don't want to give it away, but I've already told him, he's already agreed to it, and it'll be explained more. Maybe in like a behind the scenes when we talk about the show, we'll be able to talk more about his cameo and why he's who he is in the show. But definitely keep an eye out. There will definitely be more cameos and definitely more Easter eggs in the future. Alright, that just about answers everything here. So this was awesome to finally be able to do a new episode of this podcast. It has been so long since we made a new episode, but I'm glad that we finally got together to do it. Because, you know what? This felt good. My throat's dying. I probably sound really weird. This is gonna be hecka weird listening to my voice, because, like, I can kind of hear it here, but, like, very dry. Like a fine wine. Very dry. But I'm just glad, we got through this. And so I definitely look forward to doing more episodes again. And, of course, having guests. We have some guests already planned. Just need to contact them and let them know that we're still doing this podcast. Because it's been so long since the last one. So gotta let them know that we're still alive and well, and we will keep on going. So, if you would like to contact me to see if you can be a guest for the podcast, obviously, I have my social media links and emails in the video description below. And also, if you would like to contact me for voice work, or if you would like to work on something with me, like if you want to work on that RPG horror game with me, you know where to find me. So, this has been Arena, and this has been Erenaroonie Rambles. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye!